the patient.
Good morning, sir. Today I am presenting a case of Mrs. Shanti. Ms. Shanti, she is a 28-year-old female, resident of Aligarh, with chief complaints of pain in left upper quadrant since 2 months and lump in the left upper quadrant since 2 months.
Okay.
So according to the patient, she was apparently well 2 months back when she developed pain in the left upper quadrant of the abdomen, which was insidious in onset, gradually progressive. She had episodes of pain, which was not associated with nausea or vomiting. Initially, it was lesser in size, and the lump.
No, you're talking about the pain or the lump?
The pain. Sorry, sir. Initially, the pain subsided on taking medication. There were no exacerbating factors or relieving factors in the medicine. The patient also complained of lump in the left upper quadrant since 2 months. It was hard in consistency according to the patient and gradually progressive in size.
No, whenever you have a history of some pain, you have to find out what is the location of the pain, what is the radiation of the pain,
There was no associated radiation.
and associated factors which increase the pain or decreases the pain. So, was there any radiation of pain in this case? Yes.
One related to the back.
What was the severity of the pain? The first episode was very severe pain and it radiated to the back. So this was about 2 months back as per her history. Subsequently, she had repeated attacks of pain, but it was of not that same magnitude. And she had discomfort all over the last 2 months. Regarding the lump, she is not very aware that in the initial phase there was a lump or not, but subsequently she noticed a lump which had started growing bigger and bigger, and it has attained the present size. So now we have a patient with 2 complaints. One is the pain in the epigastrium and radiating to the back, and the another one is a lump in left side and also in the epigastrium. So with these 2 things, we have to think of a cause and think of the disease which can give rise to this. So whenever you have swelling or pain in a region, we have to think what are the structures in that area. So there are few structures which are important in this area. Apart from the parietes, the first structure will be the stomach. Then below the stomach will be the pancreas. And following that will be the spinal cord, and of course great vessels will be adjacent to that. So, and transverse colon may sometime cross the front of it. So there is no history related to GI tract. There is no history regarding the stomach complaints like vomiting, nausea, and sometimes epigastric pain. It's not like that. But there is a single episode of severe abdominal pain. So whenever there is a single episode of severe abdominal pain which requires the patient to come to the hospital and take medication, you have to have a suspicion of pancreatic inflammation. So acute pancreatitis is one of the major causes of severe abdominal epigastric pain. So after she came to the hospital, some diagnosis was made and some treatment was given, but she is not very sure what treatment she took. So now we will do the examination. So from the history, we can deduce that the system which is likely to be involved is the pancreatic system, which is likely to be involved in this case. But that has to be confirmed by the local examination and systemic examination. So vitals are normal, so we'll skip the vitals. Now we just examine the abdomen. So on inspection, as you can see, the patient has normal shape of the abdomen, except there is fullness in the left hypochondrium and partly in the epigastrium. Umbilicus is vertical, and there is no free fluid apparently in the abdomen, no scar marks, no pulsation, no peristalsis. There is no skin changes. So apparently the abdomen appears to be normal except for the swelling which is there in the left hypochondrium and in the epigastric region. So now we will do the palpation. Start from the opposite quadrant. The palpation is normal in the right hypochondrium, right iliac fossa, suprapubic region. There is no wincing over the face, so there is not tender. Then right hypochondrium, सांस लीजिए. There is no hepatomegaly. And left side, सांस लीजिए. I can feel a lump which is below the costal margin, and it is oval in shape and occupying the space up to the costal margin. So, and the size is 11.5 centimeters in the transverse direction and 6.2 centimeters in the vertical direction. And it is firm to hard in consistency. It is tense and it is non-tender. So, and सांस लीजिए, सांस, and it's not moving with respiration. So, any structure which moves on respiration is attached to the diaphragm. For example, if the liver is attached to the diaphragm, so if the patient moves, then this with the respiration, the swelling will also move. Similarly, a splenic mass will also move with respiration. Sometimes there is mild movement in the kidneys, but no other structure which is not related to the diaphragm will move. So this is not moving. So it is not related to either the spleen or to the liver. So it is an intra-abdominal structure. And now we will confirm whether it is intra-abdominal or extra-abdominal. हाथ सर के नीचे रखिए, सर ऊपर उठाइए. Now as you see, when this is known as the head raising test, ढीला छोड़ दीजिए. अब सर उठाइए फिर से. When she raises her head, the swelling disappears. But when she leaves it, then swelling reappears. So that means आराम से लेटी रहिए. हाथ ढीला छोड़ दीजिए. So this is an intra-abdominal swelling. There is no doubt about it. It is not moving with respiration. There is no doubt about it. Size we have already seen, and it is non-tender. Okay? So it is not an abscess or anything which could be like this. So now we come to the analyze the whole and system. You have to do the examination of the cardiovascular system. You have to do the GIT examination. You have to do respiratory infection. All those have to be examined, and we presume that they are normal unless it is needed. So coming to the discussion part, so now we have a patient who has a history of 2 months where she had an initial attack of pain, and following that she observed a lump in the left hypochondrium, also in the epigastric region. The lump was increasing in size and it has reached the present size. And off and on she has similar attack of pain, but of not that magnitude. So on examination, vitals are normal, and the finding in the abdomen is there is a mass which is 11.5 into 6.2 centimeters, oval in shape, non-tender, firm to hard in consistency, not moving with respiration. So what are the possibilities? When we go to the history, we find that there is an acute attack of pain. And I told you in the epigastric region, there are 2 or 3 structures only. One is the stomach and the second is pancreas. So there is no history suggestive of GI tract like peptic ulcer or something like that. So there is no history. So we'll rule out that. The second structure is pancreas. So this is the area of the tail of the pancreas. So that is a possibility that she had a severe attack of pain in the abdomen. This was maybe because of pancreatitis. Now what is this structure? Now what happens is that in case of pancreatitis, there is collection in the spaces around the pancreas. So it can be one of those, we call it pseudopancreatic cyst. What is a pseudopancreatic cyst? It is not having a regular wall. A normal cyst will have a regular wall in which the collection will be there. A pseudo means it's a false cyst where there is collection, but there is no wall which is enclosing it. So this pseudopancreatic cyst is a common complication of acute pancreatitis. So now this pseudopancreatic cyst is governed by the rule of 6. So whenever you see a patient with suspected case of pseudopancreatic cyst, you have to ask the duration of the symptoms, because normally this cyst appears after 4 to 6 weeks of the disease. So now it is 8 weeks from the time she has come to us. So now probably this could be one of those complications of collection getting organized in a particular space. So around the stomach or around the pancreas. So this is one place where it is likely to be present. Now this swelling has to be observed for further 6 weeks, so that whether it is going to be absorbed by itself or some surgical or medical intervention has to be done in this case. So if it is more than 6 weeks and the size is more than 6 centimeters, then we have to think that some surgical or medical treatment needs to be done. Otherwise, it is just observation. So in this case, first we like to confirm the diagnosis. Now, how do we confirm the diagnosis? Imaging. That's very good. So we can have an ultrasound, and that will tell us what is the region, how much is the collection, what is the size, shape, everything. Ultrasound is the best one because the cheapest and the simplest one, but it will not show the pancreas properly because gas is there in the stomach. So if you want a better imaging, then CT would be an ideal investigation to see, and it is one swelling. There may be smaller other swellings which may not be visible to us on an ultrasonography. So we may need to have a CT scan to confirm the other swellings. So once that is there, it is confirmed that it is a pseudopancreatic cyst. Then as of now, she is having mild pain. So for mild pain, there is nothing. We can just give her mild painkillers and give her assurance. But she has to be followed up for another 4 to 6 weeks and see the size of the swelling. Subsequently, we'll do an ultrasound. We'll not do a CT scan at every sitting. First, we'll just confirm it. If its ultrasound shows CT scan is not necessary, we'll do an ultrasound and we see it is pseudopancreatic cyst. We explain and counsel the patient and let her go home. But if it is in the next visit after say 4 weeks, there is increase in the size or symptoms have increased, then we have to start thinking about management. Otherwise, normally these less than 6 centimeter size pseudopancreatic cysts, they resolve by themselves. So there is no need to give any treatment. But if it is bigger than 6 centimeters and it is causing symptoms, then in that case, we have to treat the patient. So there are various treatment options available. Cystogastrostomy is the simplest one, and it can be done laparoscopically or it can be done by endoscopy, and it can be done by open surgery. So all the 3 techniques are available. So that is the best option for her if at all it is needed. So what we have to do, we have to just have baseline levels of liver function test, baseline level of pancreatic enzymes, we have baseline level of CBC, and ultrasound record of the size of the swelling. And we call her after 4 weeks and we see that what is the status, has it increased, has it decreased. If it is decreasing and symptoms are coming down, no further treatment is required. Thank you very much.